Sorry about that. So, officially call the meeting to order. It's now 10:32. If you'd all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Will. Please be seated. And like we normally do, I'm going to request a moment of silence for our recently departed residents, friends, neighbors, as well as all those who are suffering around the world. A moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you. We'll now have the roll call of board members done by Alyssa.
Michael Messina.
Present.
Ed Whitman.
Present.
Mary Adler.
Present.
Carol Butterworth.
Present.
Charlie Rock.
Present. All board members are present. Good. I will now ask for a motion for the approval of minutes from our last open board meeting dated March 20th, 25. Can I please have a motion from a board member?
I move to accept the minutes of the March 20th board meeting.
May I please have a second?
I second that motion.
All those board members in favor of approving the minutes, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, state nay. The ayes have it. The motion for the approval of the minutes is now passed. Okay, so now we move on to motions. We have no motions today. We're motionless. Don't know what to say. Okay. Continuing on with the President's report. Oh, gotta get my notes in hand. Okay, so applicants to this year's election of board members was concluded at the close of business yesterday. The election committee will be meeting later today to open the box to see who submitted applications showing their interest in becoming a board member. To clarify, Mary and my term is not up until next May, but there are 3 positions that will be coming available in mid-May of this year, next month. These positions are presently occupied by Ed Whitman, who will be running again, and Carol Butterworth and Charlie Rock. Carol and Charlie have decided not to go up for re-election. That means that there are 2 really vacant positions and Ed's position to make up the 3 positions. So there will be at least 2 new board members elected this May. So the way this works, and I'm going to refer to notes that I have here, so I'm going to read things maybe twice. So the way this works is that residents had a deadline to turn in your electronic consent form, which was April 14th. Okay, candidates night for the 3 new positions will be held on Wednesday, April 23rd at 7 p.m. in the ballroom. Voting will begin on Thursday, April 24th, and ends on Thursday, May 22nd at 10 a.m. All paper ballots are to be put in the black drop box in the lobby. Any residents who are not in good standing will have a letter mailed to them the week of April 21st and will have until May 13th to pay all monies that are out there. If you are not paid up, you will not be eligible to vote. You have to be in good standing. On Thursday, May 22nd, the election committee will be counting ballots in the ballroom at 10:30 a.m. All residents are welcome to watch the counting, and at 7 p.m., the open board meeting, that same night, in the ballroom, the results will be mentioned. Okay, so there's a process. The election committee does a great job with that. And now I'm going to read something that was from them, very nicely written. Now I'm going to read something that I put together here. Let's see, where was I? Okay, so there will be at least 2 new board members, and possibly 3, but Ed is going to re-election. So the way this works is that the election committee opens the box of applicants today, like I said, and then they contact each individual who applied to make sure that they're still interested in being on the ballot. So I'm gonna just start a number, I don't know what the number is, the box hasn't been opened. Let's say 10 people, and I'm sure it's less than 10, but I'm hoping it's more than 5, put their name in the box. Cool. The election committee opens it up and they validate the people that asked to be considered, they validate, they call them up, they, hey, Mike, you really want to be on the board? Well, I thought about it, yeah, I do. And they call up Ed and they say, Ed, what do you think about it? He goes, well, no, I don't want to do it. At the time, I was drunk when I put it in, whatever. I don't know why I did it. Okay, so the election committee flushes that out. And then whoever is truly interested goes on the ballot, and that ballot is then given to you, the residents, to vote upon. So if there's 5 people, you'll be voting on 5 people, and the 3 that get the highest number of votes are then on the board. That's how it works. Okay? And then, like I had said before, we have a open board meeting on the 22nd of May at 7 p.m. After it has been determined who is on the board from the voting results, the members of the board, now with the new people, will then leave the open board meeting briefly and meet separately to determine the various positions each board member will hold. So now let's say we have 2 new people, Ed, me, Mary, we go off into a room, we say, okay, we have to divvy up the positions, and then here are the positions, and then we find out who's gonna do what, and then we will come back during the meeting, so you'll be out here, talking, and we'll come back and say, this is what was decided by the 5 board members who's gonna have which position. And that's how that works. All right, so it happens every year. So, next year Mary and I will be up for re-election, but it's purposely done that you don't have 4 in one year and 1 in the other, because you like to have continuation of, people that have been on the board that know exactly where we're at with various things. Okay? Okay, I'll go on with my report. Beautification projects. What I'm talking about is doing something each year in an effort to make our community look better. As an example, the redoing of our front monuments on Route 70 took a couple of years ago, and we redid them and they look really sharp. People didn't realize how bad they looked until they looked really sharp, right? And last year we did the guardrails. All the guardrails were addressed, and they hadn't been addressed ever. And they were this gray, ugly wood, and we painted them brown. They look pretty sharp. So every year, the board, this board at least, I won't speak about anyone else, has come up with an idea to try to make Lake Ridge look better. So this year, the focus is going to be on the gazebo. The gazebo area is a focal point, right? And when you go down there, it really wasn't looking all that good. So last year, thanks to the men's club, the dead trees that were there, and there were 5 of them, were cut down and new trees were put in. And we're going to expand upon that project. Again, thank you to the men's club. And we're going to change the flower beds to make them look nicer. I mean, the seagrass is okay, but not really sharp. So we have decided as a board that that's going to be what we tackle this year. So you're going to see some work there. In fact, I don't know why the opening to the gazebo is in the back. Not quite understanding that. But you may see that opening ends up being in the front, so that you can walk in there if you wanted to sit, right? And then on the sides, there's a lot of erosion, and it seems like all the dirt's washing onto the path where people walk. Don't know why, but we're going to try to fix that up. But again, every year we're going to try to do something, and that's kind of the project that we're looking at today. Okay, well, I actually went off, but I think I hit all the points. Okay, more on the cladding project that we've been talking about for years. That was the work that was done on this building and the other building, because a lot of the structural wood was compromised from water, whatever, and we had to redo that, as you know. And as part of that, we had redone the stones in the front and redid the shrubbery, and mulch is not allowed for a commercial building and this is considered a commercial building. And there was a new state legislature that said, mulch is flammable and you can't have it next to a commercial building. Now, luckily what happened was, for single and dual house dwellings, you can have mulch. But for this building, we could not. So we put the stone around this building, and in case you didn't notice, I think it was last week or whatever, the annex was completed, because last year at the end it looked kind of ratty. Weeds all over, it looked nasty, but we didn't have enough money at the time to do everything, so we just completed it now, and I'd ask you all to take a look-see at that, because it looks pretty sharp right now. And by the way, the new legislature went into, is being implemented and effective for May 1st, and we got it done in time, so God forbid someone was coming to inspect us, we're compliant. So that's what I have to say about that. The cladding project is done. And what's going to be left is, when I say done, it's a relative term. We got to grow grass. We'll put in some sod. So at the end of that, then that project is finally done. But for the most part, the heavy lifting has been done. Okay, the outdoor pool cover was removed this past Monday in preparation for the pool season. We're getting ready for a new outdoor pool season, and we have a pool committee that's looking for help. So we've had, people volunteer, and the function of the pool committee is to decide on what's right for the community in terms of hours of operation or how we do things, or considering different new things. Like one year we had an area for strollers, so people weren't walking all around with strollers. And although it wasn't used much, we tried to do something like that. So the pool committee is actually meeting on the 22nd of this month, and they're still looking for volunteers to help out. And at that meeting, they're going to come up with ideas for this year. So I don't know the ideas that are going to come out. I'm looking at Ed. But Ed is in charge of that committee. If you want to join up, please see Ed. But they're going to come with a recommendation for the board for approval about any changes that are going to happen. So as an example, I will tell you that at 9 o'clock in the morning, generally speaking, nobody was at the pool, but it was open. So we may pull that back to 10, I don't know, maybe we'll leave it 9, but the pool committee will decide, and that's one of the things that's being looked at that I happen to know. All right, so more to come on that, but again, looking for volunteers for the pool committee. Okay, next. I would encourage all residents to view the video of these meetings or come to the meetings each month. Now, that's easy to say, because I thought about this. I'm saying this, and I'm like, okay, you should come to the meeting. Well, the people that come to the meeting come to the meeting, right? The people that don't come to the meeting aren't going to hear this unless they view the video, if they don't view the video, right? So then we put in the views, maybe you should look at the video, right? And I say this because the following statement is not aimed at all of you who normally attend the open board meeting or view the video. So I'm hoping that you can encourage people to look at the video. So I'd like to end my report with a couple of thoughts. There have been several occasions whereby the plans and actions of the board have been questioned by individuals, homeowners. And that is definitely okay, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to question why we're doing things, right? What I would ask is that before these concerns escalate too far, that each homeowner take the time to get all the information that the board and management members have, so that possibly an understanding of these board members' decisions could be had. We've had people come to the door of the office screaming about things. And I said, well, did you go to the board meeting? No, I didn't go. Why are you raising this? They said, did you go to the special meeting about the budget? No. Did you read the views about what happened in the budget to cause this? No. But yet you're screaming at the office staff, not knowing anything? Okay, that doesn't make sense to me. So maybe you should be informed. And you know what? The board could make a mistake. That's true. But I'm going to give you an example of something that, people posted on social media. Not that I go on, I don't. My wife reads to me things to get me aggravated. No. She reads things to me because she knows I don't do Facebook or anything like that. So, okay, so I'm going to give you an example. The salt that was put in the front parking lot. At face value, that's like who was the idiot that decided to put the salt in the front? It looks terrible. Yeah, it does. When we put the salt in the back, all the salt runoff went into the lake and killed the fish.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that's a problem. And then normally we put the salt by the Whitesville entrance, which has been underwater since September of last year till today. Drive by today, it's still underwater. Why there's a pile of water there, I don't know. But if you put salt in the water, like when you're making pasta, what happens? It melts. So the board was faced to, here comes the load of salt, where are you putting it? We can't put it in the back. What happened with Whitesville? It's gonna snow tomorrow, dump it here. Please God, dump it here. And that's why the salt went in the front. But now, not everyone would know this, right? And maybe we should publicize every decision we make. No, you'd be ad nauseum with the robocalls, right? But the point that I'm making is, you gotta have a little faith in the board members that they're seeing everything, they're making a logical decision, and that's why the salt went in the front. We didn't want it there, but here's the truckload of salt, and I wasn't putting it in my driveway. Okay? So things like that, it's easy to second guess, but just, I don't know, just have a little faith or ask the questions and get the whole story. I've had numerous times I've sat down with people, I presented all the facts, and they said, now I understand. Okay, enough said about that. And then lastly, our garbage transition. Now, originally, and I look back at my notes, this was mentioned on September 20th at an open board meeting of 24. It's been mentioned at every meeting thereafter, and the project was supposed to come off on April 1st and was delayed to May 1st. So it's really been like 6 months. I'm still having members call my house and say, what is this about the garbage? I'm like, I don't know. Now, there's pain in doing this because everyone had to look in their garage and find a place to put their cans. It was not easy. It was not easy. For some, it was, I went to 5 different houses, hand on the Bible, went to 5 different houses and I worked with the resident, and together we came up with a solution. Not that I love it, they didn't love it, but it can work. So, we're in the transition. It is somewhat painful. It is different. It is meaning that you have to do something else. The one person's house I went to, she goes, that cabinet in the corner, non-negotiable. That was for my mother. This power washer here, it's going to stay here, even though it's my son's. These 3 ladders have to be here. And I'm like, hey, I get it. So what can you give up so that it would fit? But it's an individual decision. It's your garage, you know what you can have in there, you know what you want in there, you know what can go. And I'm gonna say it again, if any resident has a problem that they can't figure it out, someone from ARC or someone from the board is willing to come to your house to help you make it work. Because at the end run here is, this is saving us money that we have to do, because the township decreases the allotment of money they give back to us, which means we pay more money to waste management. Okay, let's see if I have anything else. No, that's actually it. So we'll now go on to the Vice President report by Ed.
Okay, good morning. My report has 3 items to it. First of all, as Mike mentioned around the gazebo, there's going to be a Veterans Memorial Garden alongside the gazebo that will feature 5 different memorials, each to our various armed services: the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, and the Coast Guard. And under the leadership of Ed Buscavage, who deserves just a fantastic vote of support for everything he does, this garden will be completed between now and Memorial Day. And when it is completed, there'll be a video of the completed project that will be shown at the Memorial Day commemoration here at the clubhouse in the ballroom. So everyone, whether they attended the actual dedication or not, will have a chance to see what we've done. and it will be a credit both to the vets and to the sponsorship of the men's club, which has been revitalized. Some of you probably attended the pasta dinner last night to great success. And so to the men's club and to Ed Biscavige taking the lead on behalf of the vets, I think we all owe a great vote of appreciation to our vets and those people who made this commemoration such a success. So we can look forward to improving the look of that garden as we enter there by the gazebo. And as Mike mentioned, we're also going to make the gazebo accessible. Perhaps, it always struck me when I sometimes do walk around there and I sit in the gazebo and I take a little break. And I think to myself, why did I have to walk around to the back to get into the gazebo? Doesn't make any sense. So we're going to put a set of steps in. We're going to take the railing that's in the front of the gazebo, cut it, and put it in the back of the gazebo, and then put steps up to the front so everybody can enjoy the gazebo without having to walk around the back. So the beautification project, as Mike mentioned, around the gazebo will feature the Vets Memorial and a revitalized appearance, new trees, new gardens, and it should look very, very good as a tribute to our vets. So that's the major issue. Secondly, with regard to trees, there are 9 locations that are being addressed currently this month by Cut Above. Go out and check those trees and do whatever trimming or removal of the dead and dangerous trees needs to be done. And lastly, the vegetable gardens down at by the entrance to the community, there are still some gardens open and available. Is anyone still interested? I got a couple of calls since our last meeting, and I was happy to accommodate the 2 gardeners who got new plots down there. So that's my report. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ed. We'll now move on to a very short report from our treasurer, Mary.
Okay. Hi. I have no report. We had this meeting too early in the month. They haven't closed the books out yet. So as soon as the books are closed out, I will put the statement on the bulletin board for anybody that wants to see the numbers, okay? This happens every so often, and there's nothing we can do about it. But I know it looked pretty decent. Thank you.
All right, so next month, the meeting will be later in the month and be able to do it. It's, as Mary said, every so often, one meeting gets too close to the beginning of the month, so, next month will be different. We'll now move on to the, thank you, Mary. We'll now move on to the Secretary's report from Carol.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. The Documents and Policy Committee had no meeting in April. That's because the committee is waiting to receive our lawyers' printed revised bylaws with the updated current laws integrated into them. These are to be voted on by all homeowners, probably in May. Regarding security, I salute the guards in our gatehouse. They're from the Marion Security Agency up in Red Bank. Some very nice people arrive at the entrance, and some not so nice people. But our guards do a good job of keeping us safe. They follow the rules. Happy Easter, everybody, and happy Passover.
Okay, to add to that, because the board has seen video of a man coming into the development to visit, and the guard asked his name, and the man replied, Al. And he says, can I have your last name? At which point, the man jumps out of his car, goes around to the door, and starts screaming at the guard for asking him, don't you know who Al is? So, it comes down to this. The homeowner who's receiving that guest is responsible for their guest. That's what it comes down to. So if the guard is doing his or her job, and the person literally got in his face, it's a very shocking video which we will not show, but believe me, everyone up here has seen it. It's shocking. The man jumps out of his car, runs around screaming, flailing his arms, that the guy was just doing his job. But it is the homeowner who's responsible for their guest. Right? Okay. That being said, and thank you, Carol, we'll now move on to the Director at Large report from Charlie.
Good morning, everyone. The new and updated standards and phone directories were delivered to each of you in the April views. If for some reason you did not get them, you can get them down here at the office. The board has approved the purchase of a new AED defibrillator for permanent residents in the gym at a cost of $1,600. The recumbent bike, which would have cost us $3,200 to replace, has been fixed and is in operation at a cost of $1,300. So we kind of killed two birds with one stone. We actually saved $300, and we got a new defibrillator, and the recumbent bike is operating. And just one other thing, and Mike was talking about the garbage cans, I do want to remind you that if for any reason you use that garbage can from Tom's River or the recycling can, and Waste Management damages those things before May 1st, you guys will be responsible to pay and buy new ones. So if you're using the new cans, please don't use your old cans until the new program is in effect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Charlie. And now we'll move on to the manager report from Ray.
Good morning, everybody. Just a couple updates here. Meticulous Landscaping was supposed to start the cutting schedule this week on Tuesday. Due to the rain, it's been put off to next week. What we did sit down and talk to them with, and they're revising their schedules now to go Tuesday to Friday, and hopefully not have to bother you on the weekends. We're going to try and keep that in there. Probably only see weekends if it's an emergency situation or makeup due to weather, but April 14th is when they'll start the cutting season. When they came in here, it was a recommendation to try and start mulching to get the nutrients into the lawns, which haven't been done in recent memories. I know some people who will fertilize and over-fertilize their lawns. We've had a problem with that because we would have to cut the lawns multiple times to get it even with their neighbors here and there. But it did cause some complaints and distractions last year. What we're looking to do, and we're going to work with the landscaper for alternate schedules to where they would mulch the rear and sides of the property and bag the front of the lawns. We'll try to do that on an alternating schedule, this way working with the mulching to help out the lawns, but also not have to bog everybody down. We'll try and get that information out prior to each cut just to let everybody know. And again, if you're opting out of services for the landscaping, fertilization, what have you, flags will be available at the office on request. We are also working with them with the detention basins. They have mowed last year on a monthly basis. They will be spraying the weeds in those channels. But to go further, there's some channels, the rock channels in there that have been in disrepair for a few years. I did walk the property Friday with our asphalt contractor, previous asphalt contractor, J.R. Rothberg. We were looking at asphalt repairs, specifically stress fractures in the roadways. We were looking at stress fractures and repairs to be done on the asphalt walkways, but he also did the channel repairs in these detention basins 2 to 3 years ago. So we're looking at again, it would be the Torrington Basin and the Whitesville Basin to get areas of those repaired so that it would help in the drainage. The other side of Torrington and Lancaster basins have been bogged down over the recent rains, torrential rains coming in, leaves and weeds back up into the outflow boxes, and we get the calls and complaints on that. Actually, David has to climb down into that and move the leaves out of the way and try to get the water moving. Normally, as long as the detention ponds dry out within 24 to 48 hours, it's working despite the poor layout. A lot of these channels and pipelines are laid even, there's no pitch in there for proper drainage, so we try to keep up on it as much as possible. But we will be working with that with the landscaper and with Rothberg. Once we get that proposal, we'll be using that as a punch list to get some of these other repairs done. As Ed Mike mentioned with the gazebo, the annex, the repairs done out there, they were actually paid for with what was left of the cladding project in the reserves from last year. We had a balance left over due to credits coming back and some work that did not need to be done, and that covered the landscaping upgrades at the annex. The trash and recycling services, that we already went over. This is our last month of waste management. They are done as of April 30th. May 1st, the township will be starting. We should be getting all that information by Monday on a start date. They won't start on May 1st, it'll be the week after. And we will get that out to the homeowners via email and robocall blast to make sure that everybody hears what's going on. We will also have the dates for the pickup of the old cans, if you so desire. They will come the week after, pick up the old cans and dispose of them for you. But we'll get those tentative dates out to you, hopefully by the end of next week. We are still working on the retaining walls. We had one more engineer come in and take a look at it to do a seismic inspection on the stability of the walls. Specifically, we're looking at the Crisfield Vicari wall, which will be the first wall to be done. Again, that has a little pitch in it. They are 30-year-old wooden tie walls, and we're looking to eventually get them all transitioned over into stone block. We had and continue to monitor the reserve study so that we're putting enough money away for these projects. The first delve on a guesstimate, we'll probably be looking under that area just under $200,000 because we'll be removing landscaping from the top and the bottom of the wall and transitioning from the wood ties to the blocks. So once we get that final proposal, we will be sitting with the finance committee and board to go over the information and determine which way we're going to go. Federal Irrigation was on site the last 2 weeks to inspect and repair the irrigation system for startup. They were also working with a cut above to inspect the annex system at the irrigation system at the annex, as well as the main gazebo area. With the beautification project that the board and club is looking to do, we will have to move around some of the heads and make sure that there are heads in the area for the new plantings that we'll be putting in. Also, this year will be the repair and upgrade of the last 2 irrigation wells. We have 8 wells in the community. 6 have already been done. They average about $4,700 per well, but that was to get everything up to date with a new weather reading system and to clean out to make sure they're working efficiently. So after this year, the wells will be up and running properly, and we'll be able to concentrate preventive maintenance on another area that we'll have to be looking at. Ed did mention that we have 9 locations looking for tree removal. We have alternate bids coming in aside from a cut above, just to get the best project price for this to be done. As I mentioned last month, professional sports courts will be in mid-April to take care of the tennis court / pickleball repairs. We're hoping to get a positive date. Mid-April is just too vague, and we're waiting to get that done. Well, the handrail will go, yes, we have the handrail already approved to go into the tennis court. Along with Rothberg and going around looking at the crack fill and walkway repairs, the office is also taking information that come in on concern sheets for these repair requests. The stress fracture in the roads, we are looking at the complete community to be done. The phase 5 of the asphalt repairs out in the Vicari area is scheduled for 2026. But with the weather, the winter freeze, the expansion and contraction, the seams in the road where the roads met during paving, there are fractures in there. We're looking to get them all filled in. Sidewalk repairs as well. If there's trip hazards you notice out there, let us know. We get them marked out, and we usually have them repaired in and around the end of July, beginning of August. But as we mentioned before too, with the snow salt storage, with the Whitesville area mulch pit or depot, however you want to call it, we are getting proposals to put a concrete slab out in that area. This way we can store the mulch on a dry surface bed during distribution, but also during the winter we can store the salt down there on a concrete slab with walls. And this way the salt will be out of the public view and back at the depot where the vendor will be able to take it to and from. We are just finishing up the government legal services. It's in final talks with Tom's River Township regarding the municipal reimbursement from 2022 and 2023. Again, those were the years that we all of a sudden were hit with a cap on our reimbursements. We are trying to get some money back. It does not look favorable, but we're going for a final response with the township to see where things are going. We are experiencing some good relations with the township now that we are going to trash removal with them. They've been cooperative on a number of instances of communications we had. So we'll have to figure out how to make up for this deficit at a later time if it is not honored by the township. And our association audit for 2024 is wrapping up with our auditor Wilton and Gooden plan. And just a couple little updates here. Springtime, warmer weather, and as we mentioned before, music will be playing here and there, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's a neighboring community. We do get complaints every year that somebody's playing there too loud or there's noises there. You can contact us or give a concern sheet. The office can reach out to our homeowners if necessary, just as a courtesy. But we want to stress that this is a resident-to-resident issue, and if it is that bad or if it's prolonging, it should be reported to the local police. There's so much that we can do, and it's constant every year that we have noise complaints, especially from neighboring communities. So you can always let us know, but again, that's for the local police to be contacted with. I also mentioned every spring to fall that we get our little visitors in here from neighboring communities that like to fish in our ponds. Last week in leaving, I did confront one of them, younger, looked like a younger relative from one of our usual suspects, who was in fishing in the smaller pond. He came in on an e-bike. I told him that he was trespassing, he's not allowed to be on here. E-bikes were not allowed in the community, and he proceeded to leave. He did sneak into a back entrance, and the guard didn't see him come in. But however, when I came in this morning, we had an incident report from our security company, and it said at about 6 p.m. I noticed 4 juveniles fishing in the lake. These are the same juveniles we had problems with several months ago. I called the Tom's River Police Department, and they arrived at approximately 6:20. The officer spoke to the juveniles and wound up putting them in the car and taking them home. This is what we wanted all along. We wanted the parents to be notified, get some validation here, let them know that they're trespassing, they're not allowed on the property, how far they took it, because there's also programs they can use to alert the parents and have the children go as far as maybe even writing an essay how they will not trespass on the property anymore. We'll wait for the police report on that, but finally the police are taking a proactive role with us in keeping these trespassers out here and keeping the fish for our own residents. And I just wanted to give an update, because we headed off at the pass here, as far as what we had with our attorney, current legal charges, and an update on the current complaint and suit against Lake Ridge Homeowners Association. We did get an update from our attorney. Not all the information is privy to us, but just to give you some information, on March 27th, there was a virtual case management conference. As reported, the judge had not read any of the motion papers, only the complaint. Judge Duran, who is assigned to the case, is going to read all of the motion papers and schedule another case management conference once he is ready to discuss it further. Oral arguments should be scheduled for that conference. Our attorneys are hoping to have the next conference in a week or two, but more realistically, given the current backlog in the courts, it's unlikely to happen until the end of April, unless the judge actually dedicates a weekend to reviewing the motion papers. However, the judge's posture at that next conference should be much more informative. So that is what I'm allowed to mention right now. We will have the dates available if it is posted. And just to go over the charges, we have, and this is going back from 2024 to 2025, and I'll go through all the legal charges here. The transition costs in 2024 to move over to the new attorney, have all our records reviewed, and recommendations made was $32,089. Amendment and policy review, this was work for the bylaws and the restrictive covenants work that was done in 2024, I'm sorry, getting a little ahead of myself, was 3027. We have not been billed for 2025 yet. The amendment and policy review was $8,040 in 2024. And so far in 2025, we've been billed $2,615. Working on the municipal reimbursement with the township, the legal costs were $693 in 2024, $317 in 2025. For other legal, 2024 was $39.46. And so far for 2025 is $495. That pretty much encompasses everything from collections to advisement. And with the current suit, the 2024 charges was $15,122. Billed so far in 2025 was $24,679, which brings us to $39,802. That includes fees from the dispute resolution, attorney fees, not only from ours, but from the insurance company's attorney as they originally tried to get into the mix and did some records review. And that concludes my report.
Okay, a lot of information. I forgot to mention one thing, and it's not going to affect the majority of the people here. If someone is playing cards, mahjong, or whatever here in the clubhouse or the annex, there should be no money on the table, as that is considered gambling. On the reverse side of that, if you have plastic chips in front of you, for whatever reason, that's not considered gambling. Do not have money on the table when playing, and that would be greatly appreciated, because someone could report us, and it did happen, that we were reported that we're having gambling. No money on the table, okay? Thank you very much. Okay, well, may I now have a motion to complete the business portion of this meeting from a board member? Somebody? Anybody?
I move we close the business portion of the meeting.
May I now have a second?
I second it.
Okay, all those board members in favor of closing the business portion of this meeting, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. The ayes have it. The business portion of this meeting is now closed. We will now start